Welcome back, Whiskey Aficionados. I'm Trevor, and today we're reviewing the Springbank Local Barley 10-year-old. It's bottled at a hefty 55.2%, and this is review number 115. So, this bottle has become somewhat mythical in the whiskey world. I wouldn't say unobtainium, but hard to get. People queue for it. You know, flippers are selling it at ridiculous pricing in auctions. People buy it, and I really disagree with that. They're just making money off keen whiskey drinkers, I suppose. Now, this isn't just another Springbank release. The Local Barley series, it's all about using barley grown near the distillery in Campbeltown. It's basically Springbank leaning back into its roots, the local farming, the old school whiskey making, that type of thing. And honestly, it's part of why people really dig Springbank. There's a lot of following. It's a cult following. You know, it's into limited releases, local barley, natural presentation, the scarcity of the whole thing, and suddenly whiskey collectors begin behaving like ticket scalpers at a rock concert. You know what I mean? Springbank itself is, you know, one of the most respected distilleries in Scotland. It's one of the most traditional distilleries in Scotland. It's in Campbeltown, which at one stage was known as the whiskey capital of the world. Most of the other distilleries there disappeared. However, recent times it has had a bit of a resurgence with a number of another 3 distilleries currently being built in Campbeltown, so that's quite exciting news. What makes them different is they still do a lot of the work in-house, which is important. They malt some of their own barley, not all, but some. They use traditional production methods. They bottle on site, which is fantastic. And honestly, I think Springbank feels like a modern whiskey factory, more than a distillery. That accidentally sort of survived from maybe 100 or 150 years ago. And whiskey buffs, whiskey nerds absolutely love that. This has a massive following, it really does. It's sort of legendary. A lot of the Springbank here in New Zealand, if we want to get our hands on some Springbank, you can't actually buy it online, you can't buy it in shops, you have to apply in Ballot, and if your name's lucky enough to be picked out, you're invited to buy a bottle. That's how scarce it is in this country, at least, and I do know that that seems to happen a lot of places in the world, so it's an interesting marketing strategy. They don't advertise much because they don't need to. The fans basically do the marketing for them. All right, well, let's get to the technical side of things. This is a 10-year-old. It's bottled at 55.2% ABV. It's from the Springbank Distillery in Campbeltown, part of the Local Barley series. It's non-chill filtered, and there is no added colour, so it's naturally coloured, which I love. Although I don't see that specifically written on the bottle, but I know that that is the case. The barley, of course, was sourced locally, which is fantastic, and at 55.2, it's going to pack a bit of a punch. So this may not be a recommended whiskey for a first-time whiskey drinker, but it's not going to be a soft, easy drinking type of style. It's more something that if you're more experienced, you're looking for something different, to get into it. Let's give it a try, eh? I'll pour myself a dram, not too much, and I'll get my big nose into this glass. Okay, so, right away, it's unmistakably Springbank. I don't know, you've got that slightly coastal, oily, it's an industrial character that Springbank fans absolutely obsess over. I'm getting malted barley, lemon peel, salted caramel, vanilla. It's a touch of smoke, but wow, you can hardly You can hardly get the smoke on that. It's so light. You can just get it. Earthy sort of notes, but it's got that, like all Springbanks have, in my opinion, it's got that mechanical sort of note there going on. And I know that sounds a little bit weird, but I think Springbank has an old workshop near the ocean type of vibe going on. It's not a bad thing. There's also a freshness to it, you know, almost like walking through a grain shop, you know, along the coast, for example. Sort of powerful in the nose, but it's not aggressive. Right, let's give it a, you can see the viscosity there, the legs, it's quite clinging on to the side of the glass. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So, wow, the arrival is big and powerful. Immediately you get that rich barley sweetness. It is very sweet, surprisingly sweet. It's got that toffee. There's a little bit of, what would you say, pepper spice? There's an oily mouthfeel that coats everything. And then the spice kicks in. You've got black pepper. A little bit of, oh yeah, no. Just as I'm getting that spice, then I got that little tiny hint of smoke. I just got that on there. You've got that ginger. It's really balanced, you know. It's for the 55.2 ABV. I'm not reaching for the water jug. It's pretty good. It feels sort of raw and authentic, you know, without becoming messy. Got that earthy coastal character running through the whole, from the start to the finish, all the way through. As I say, the slight smoke, but you know, if you're not into smoke or peat and anything like that, I think this is something that you should try, because it's so light, it's so gentle, it's in the background that it's actually very, very nice indeed. You've got a malty sort of richness going on, and honestly, it tastes like a whiskey that is made by people who actually care about the whiskey, and not one of these production factories that's just getting whiskey after whiskey after whiskey out the door. Now, at 55.2, I don't think there's not many whiskies at that sort of ABV that's going to carry the flavors and the whiskey balanced all the way through without you wanting to add water. So this is surprising. You can add water if you want, but never ever let the whiskey police tell you how to drink your whiskey. You drink your whiskey how you wish to drink your whiskey. Simple as that. Finish. It's long. It is warming, oily, very, very slightly drying, and it does hang around. It really does. The coastal notes sort of linger. You got that lovely malty character. Right at the end, it keeps pulling you back for another sip, which at 55.2%, I can tell you, may or not be very, very dangerous. So, Springbank Local Barley, does it deserve the hype? Honestly, honestly put, this is an absolutely excellent whiskey. It really is. But I think part of the hype comes from the rarity and the collectability. The fact that you can't get it makes it a little bit special. You know, I wonder if this bottle was sitting on the shelves at a normal sort of retail price, would it still have that cult following? I don't think it would. It is an excellent whiskey, don't get me wrong. Fantastic. It doesn't taste engineered by a marketing department, and to be honest, they don't have to do a hell of a lot, do they? As I say, would I recommend it as a first whiskey? No, it's something to get into, to work yourself towards. Oh, that is superb. But, you know, if you're exploring Scotch, you want to get into something a little bit different, you want something with more personality, texture, character, this is fantastic. Now, I've got a new scoring system. I'm not going 1 to 10. I'm going 1 barrel to 5 barrels. One barrel being not for me, 5 barrels, just awesome whiskey. I'm going to give this 4 barrels, which is excellent. It's an excellent whiskey. And yeah, just brilliant. So if you enjoyed this review, make sure you hit subscribe for further weekly reviews. I'm doing them every week, and without the snobbery. At least I hope it's without the snobbery. I hope you find the style more relaxed. I'm Trevor, and this is Whiskey Aficionado, and as always, sláinte.